Hello Year 6 and welcome to Tuesday's math support video. Today we're going to be exploring what happens when we divide by 10, 100 and 1000. And although today we're going to do the same thing, we're going to take it back to whole numbers and look that we're happy at what happens when we divide by 10, 100 and 1000. We can't actually do that for very long before we come across decimals, and we'll just have a little look at why. So if we have a number, a nice simple one like 4,000, this one not too much of a problem when we're dividing by 10, 100 and 1,000, because you can see it's got lots of zeros as placeholders. The only column that has a digit here is the 4 in the 4,000. So if we're going to divide that by 100, we can see it's going to do the to the right. It's going to move two places to the right. So the 4 has moved from the thousands to the hundreds to the tens, and you can see we've just got lots of zeros, and they all move then down into the decimal column. So we're just left with 40. Although we've got placeholders in the decimals there, we know there are no tenths, no hundredths there. But the reason why we can't stay on whole numbers too long today, if we quickly reset that, is let's take a number like, let's go 321. Now when we've got a number like 321, you can see that we've just popped in there are no tenths, but that's a little clue as to what's going to happen when we start dividing by 10, 100 or 1,000. So if we're going to divide 321 by 100, all the digits are going to move two places to the right, and as you can see, these numbers are going to end up moving into the decimal place value columns. So that's why it's really difficult just to stay looking at whole numbers today. But it's also important that we don't get scared about decimals, because at the end of the day, all they really are is little tiny baby parts of numbers that don't quite make up a whole number. So nothing to be worried about. And it works exactly the same way as with whole numbers, as long as you remember that when we're dividing by 10 and 100 and 1,000, the numbers are moving place value columns to the right. So they are moving this way. And then you remember how many place value columns to move the number, depending on what number you're dividing by. So for 10, when you're dividing by 10, you move one place value column to the right. When you're dividing by 100, that's 2. And I like to remember that the number of zeros in the number that you're dividing by and tells you how many place value columns the number's going to move. So the video will talk to you today firstly about whole numbers, but it will very quickly move on to decimals. But the nice thing about it is it will really clearly talk you through some examples and break it down step by step. It's really helpful. So let's have a look at that video now and explore what happens when we divide by 10, 100 and 1,000, or as I like to call it, the anti-Beyonce, to the right, to the right.
Dividing by 10, 100 and 1,000. In today's video, our learning objective is to be able to divide whole numbers and those involving decimals by 10, 100 and 1,000. So let's get stuck in. Dividing by 10, 100 or 1,000 moves the digits in a number to the right in the place value chart. It therefore decreases their value. Let's look at the number 41.3. Dividing 41.3 by 10 moves all the digits one place to the right to make 4.13. Dividing 41.3 by 100 moves all the digits two places to the right to make 0.413. Finally, let's divide the number by 1,000. Dividing 41.3 by 1,000 moves the digits three places to the right. But look, we have an empty space in the tenths column. So we need to add a placeholder 0 to the empty space to make 0.0413. Let's practice. Write the missing number to make this division correct. 86 divided by blank equals 8.6. Now pause the video and see if you can work it out. Did you figure it out? The missing number is 10. Now let's go through the question together. 1. What is the question asking you to do? The question is asking you to write the missing number in the box to make the division correct. 2. Compare the starting number with the answer and establish how many places to the right the digits have moved. Then decide what this means we've divided by. Notice how the digits in the starting number and the answer are the same. They are just in different columns of the place value chart. This indicates that we've divided by 10, 100, or 1000. To find out if we've divided by 10, 100, or 1000, we need to establish how many places the digits have moved. Well, the 8 in the tens column has moved to the ones, and the 6 in the ones column has moved to the tenths. How many spaces have they moved? That's right, they've both moved one space to the right. Dividing by 10 moves the digits in a number one space to the right. We therefore have divided by 10, and we have found the missing number. Write 10 in the box. 3. Don't forget to check your answer. Let's take a look at another question. Write the missing number to make this division correct. 404 divided by blank equals 4.04. Now pause the video and see if you can work it out. Did you figure it out? The missing number is 100. Now let's go through the question together. 1. What is the question asking you to do? The question is asking you to write the missing number in the box to make the division correct. 2. Compare the starting number with the answer and establish how many places to the right the digits have moved. Then decide what this means we've divided by. Notice once again how the digits in the starting number and the answer are the same. They are just in different columns of the place value chart. This indicates that we've divided by 10, 100, or 1000. We need to establish how many places the digits have moved to work out what we have divided by. It's easy to get confused if two digits are the same, so we need to be careful. Let's start by tracking the digit with the smallest value, which is the digit 4 in the ones column. The digit 4 in the ones column has moved 1, 2. It's moved 2 spaces to the right and is now in the hundredths column. The 0 from the tens column has moved 1, 2 places to the tenths column. And the 4 from the hundreds column has moved 1, 2 places to the ones column. Therefore, all of the digits have moved 2 spaces to the right. What does this tell us? Well done. It tells us that we have divided by 100 because dividing by 100 moves all the digits in a number 2 spaces to the right. So the missing number in this division is 100. Write 100 in the box. 3. Don't forget to check your answer. Let's recap on the learning objective and what you've learnt in this video. You've learnt to be able to divide whole numbers and those involving decimals by 10, 100 and 1000. Until next time.
Hopefully you found that video really helpful. I think it quite clearly broke down the problem into steps there and really clearly showed you what happens when we divide by 10, 100 and 1000. So the tasks in the support folder today look a little bit like this one. It's very similar to yesterday actually, a nice simple look at just dividing the same number, firstly by 100, then by 1000. You can see we started off quite gently, so we have used multiples of 1000. So we've got 18,000 here, 458,000 here, because that should hopefully keep you within using whole numbers there before you move on to the decimals. And again, like yesterday, if we scroll down, we start moving into numbers that will then give you some decimal answers. If you still want a little bit of practice, because the task is quite short today, I've put a link here, which I'll show you now. I love the fact it's called I Know It as well, so it's like it's super confident that you're going to be able to do this. So it just looks like this, as it takes forever to load. And I'll scroll down a little bit because the top has been cut off there. So they just give you a series of questions that look like this. And then you submit and it will tell you whether you're correct or not, and it keeps a score for you. So if you want to carry on having a little bit of a practice on that one, you can do. So once you're ready and you're confident, like always though, as soon as you are happy that you know how to divide by 10, 100 and 1000, and you can do that with decimals as well. I've actually given you a little hint down the bottom there. By all means, as soon as you're ready, move on to the White Rose worksheet, because actually the first few questions on that sheet are easier than the ones that are here. There is a video with that one too, if you just want to, because that video talks specifically about the worksheet that they're doing there, and it's always nice to have a slightly different explanation as well for what's happening. But as soon as you're ready, move on, and good luck again today, Year 6. Bye.